Now, for anyone who doesn't know what the hell's going on, you're in the wrong place. Because this is a very seedy location. This is not for amateurs. In fact, many amateurs will be turned off about what we're about to discuss. My name's Jason. I made this website mostly just to vent, get drunk, and rage frustration at the game, which I love, and I love you all. I've got two gentlemen here who have graciously volunteered to come here. I don't know why, but thank you very much. So, Andrew, you've been alphabetical. Why don't you introduce yourself first?
I'm Andrew, also known as CTZ on these internet things. I like to play weird, wacky, but yet competitive decks from the SF Bay Area. I like to see myself as the gatekeeper for all these try-hard competitive players trying to get into the top cuts of things. I try and shake things up a bit. And I love underused cards, so this discussion piece really came in, and I'd love to gripe with you and drink some Suntory Whiskey Toki with you as well.
No, don't worry. I got
That's me.
Covered. I got whiskey covered. I got
Perfect.
Covered. I got it all covered.
Whew.
David.
Good. Backups. It's good to have a backup.
Yep, David, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi, I'm David. Again, on the internet, I'm known as Rotage or Rotage. I don't know how it's pronounced, so pronounce it however you like. How do I see myself? I like to try and break the game. That's my goal in life. Fine, again.
That's the right idea. Okay, yeah.
Like cards that aren't that. Try and find a visible and cause and add it to most wanted list. That's my goal in life. At the same time, try and win games while doing it.
Yeah, well, your use of the hyperdriver is well noted. Even though I did think of it before, well, no, I think you thought of it before me and you perfected it before me, but I saw that coming a mile off. Yeah.
I remember when we played a regional, and it was Diaper wasn't heavily played then. So opposite you hadn't heard of Diaper. I installed a hyperdriver and a leprechaun. You immediately figured it all out. I was going to use full set code to bounce out of DDoS and do a lot of keyhole runs.
Yes.
We've got executive boot camp and started pre-resing UIs, so I couldn't do it.
Well, it was just unfortunate that I so happened to have the exact deck that countered your deck. It was just, I think you still won that, didn't you? Or did you not? I can't remember. I think you still won.
You won. You absolutely. I mean, I tried to find a way around it, but this was before I used Apocalypse, so I had if people started resing ice, I could extra to a point, but again, you knew perfectly how to res the right amount of ice to make sure I couldn't even do that correctly. You factored in Escher as well.
Yeah.
Like so I said, you did it perfectly.
Well, like that deck was built specifically against that deck because I was running that Exile deck that you just built a while ago, but then I got bored of it because it was too good. It was too competitive. So, Andrew, could you tell me one zany? Have you come up with like a really zany deck? Could you tell me just one zany deck before we start this discussion?
Yeah, I could talk about something that I played yesterday to much effectiveness. So right now it's on NetReadyB is let Chila decide. And the general idea here is that it's a Shaper deck that uses a combination of the dinosaur breakers and hooks, as it will, which is a la Pirate Haley ice. But really what the juice of the deck is and what I want to do and what I really want to punish people for playing really, really good agendas and only scoring one at one time. A combination of Liberated Chila, Temple of the Liberated Mind, Fan Sight, Apocalypse, and then you can throw in Notoriety if you'd like. And the general idea is you let them score a really valuable agenda. Nisei, Sales Team, a big 5-3 that they don't want to score. And then you immediately hop on taking clicks off of Liberated Mind or Hyperdriver at decision. You get rid of that agenda, I don't get 2 points, or you've gotten rid of that agenda, I can now get 2 points. We do this throughout the game. Once they've gotten to that critical 4 or 5 agenda points, the idea is to apocalypse them, do it again, and then win on a deep data mining. That is the general deck.
See, Did you plunge in Techie Net yesterday at all?
No, I did not.
Okay, no, because the funny thing is, I remember seeing your deck list, and I thought someone was running something extremely similar on the competitive version of the competitive part of Jinteki. So I thought it might have been you, but it wasn't you. But didn't you?
No.
Kilo though. It was close to
Yeah.
It was close to the World Championships build, I think, but it was using the grappling hook and the resource end of icebreakers and before icebreakers. So I was wondering if it was you. All right.
Yeah, no, that's not me.
All right. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Someone's biting your style. Anyway, so to the discussion.
I just want to say I love this deck, but I'm looking at this deck now. I love it. I'm definitely going to sit and play this at some point. It looks fun.
It's very, very fun. And really, my favorite thing in Netrunner, period, whether it's runner or corp, and obviously you two know about this and obviously love it based on things you've talked about and decks you've made. Forcing the other person to make a bad decision either way, or just making them go, fuck, that's Netrunner for me right there. That little bit. Whatever the move is, whatever the theme is, and lose their shit. That's the best part of Netrunner.
Posting the link into the Skype chat now, just to be sure that we're all on the same page. I'll put this.
That would be the one.
Yeah, I'll try to edit it into this later on so people can see what's going on. But
Cool.
right. Oh yeah, but so I've given you some cards to think about anyway, just in case you didn't have any cards to think about off the top of your head. I assume you all have cards that you think are unplayed at the very least. Okay, I'll let someone else go first on this one because I know which card I like that's underplayed that I play a lot. So have any... Oh wow, it's on top of the screen. Everyone's seeing it now. Everyone's seen the deck list now. I think everyone just got to look at my Facebook as well. Okay, sorry, back to the... How do I do this again? There we go. There we go, back. Yep, so... Okay, David, do you have a card to use that you want to talk about, or you can use one of the pre-ones I've given you? It's up to you.
So I had a look at the ones you pre-gave me. I think the one I would like to talk about, though, and I think it's one that you will like, and I know this gets a lot of hate, this card, is O2 Shortage.
Ah, yes, I was thinking about that card myself. I've got on the whole, I think Damon wins that argument, and I completely misunderstand what he's talking about here, which is me being silly. Anyway, side note, I talk a lot of crap here, and I can't speak for Damon. I just want to make that very clear. I can never speak for Damon. Damon is his own person. He does very good work and whatnot. And, of course, I was very, very, very drunk. For me, or is he going to try fast advance? I don't know which. Which option? Either option is bad. And that's the way the card. That's what the card is for. Again, every single time I talk about Damon Stone's cards, he always overcosts it by one. Always. I don't know why. I've complained this at length multiple times. The guy is one of the best designers I've ever seen, but he always overcosts things every single time by one. And I think I'm drunk now. Okay, sorry.
Consistency is key.
Consistency is key. Anyway, yes. Speaking of that card, O2 Shortage. Andrew, would you like to come in before I vomit all over this card? I think I should let you come in on O2 Shortage. Are you aware of what this card does?
Yeah. I actually was reviewing yesterday, and I do like this card. And again, I really love the spirit. I'm going to analyze this from a non-costing perspective. Or make a bad decision that is secretly two bad decisions, make them actually think about stuff. And ultimately, you as the corp get to place a negative effect on the runner. Boom, it's happening. There's no way it's not happening. There's a bad decision on the other side of the table, and I absolutely love that. So any card that facilitates that type of behavior or play in Netrunner, A-okay in my book.
Okay. So yeah, that's what I like about the card too. I mean, it is a custom botted card by nature, because Custom Robotics is extremely vague. That card is extremely vague. But my issue is that it has to be played first click. Think about it. You play this card second click, it's pretty much almost, you let them have the click back. Because if they weren't going to do the thing the first time, there's nothing to worry about. For example, let's say, for example, you play Hedge Fund, first click, okay? And then you play the OT shortage. Now, I don't need the card. You know what? Have another click. What's the worst you're gonna do? You're gonna purge my virus counters? Okay, maybe at a push they like 1, 2, 3 advance. But you can do that already, because if you already have the 5 credits to pay for the hedge fund, then what's to worry about? I mean, I don't see the level of efficiency you gain from the click when you play this card is nothing compared to what you gain if you play the first click. Now, while Damon Stone has said at length that biotic labor, which you can use this as a comparison to this card, people think when they play biotic labor, it's always about the fast advance. Damon says that it's there's other things you can do, and I agree. There are other things you can do besides fast advance out of biotic labor. My issue is the consistency of a way to do that. Let's take another card, for example. The one it's 3 clicks, 5 cost. It's a Wayland card. It's all the advancement tokens from ice onto a card. Does anyone know which card I'm talking about?
Red Planet Couriers.
That's the one. Alcohol's working. Now, for example, if you was to play Biotic Labor and then install a card, you could instantly fast advance pretty much any card if you have enough tokens. And again, that's another fast advance option. But you could play the Wayland card, 2 cost. It's an asset. When you triple advance this asset, it can kill a contact or do 2 team meat damage. It's the Hitman card, I believe.
Contract Killer.
That's the
Contract
one.
Killer.
That's the one. That's it. Now, that's another use for it. But again, you're advancing. Again, the problem is I'm thinking about advancing because advancing is ingrained into the game. I mean, if you can do advancing from 0 cards. The problem is there's too many. To do any kind of other combination, you'd need the cards. And that's my key issue there with the fast advance side of it. The kill side, however, that could work in Jinteki because Jinteki has that built in. There's lots of other cards built in. You already have the kill set up. That 1 extra card can mean the difference between killing them and not killing them. So that's my issue with that card. The issue with the card is that the second you use it, besides not using it on the first click, it becomes useless. As it's a good card, it's a great card, it's needed, it should cost 2. Moving on. Yeah. All right, thank you very much, Jen. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Andrew, do you have a card?
I got it.
Go for it.
I do. This has been probably my favorite pet card this year. Great effect and causing much frustration on the other side. Genetics Pavilion. Hear me out. So I love the currencies in Netrunner. You have credits, you have clicks. It's very obvious. Something that people forget about is cards. There are quite a few cards that force card constraints and for you to consider it as an economy. Typically, in the way that I've done it is I will either naked install it or I'll guard it with just safe.
Well, okay, so I'm losing.
Someone doing this out of Polar.
Wait, sorry, I'm going to stop you there. Please repeat it again. Yeah. You can repeat it from naked install it, please. I'm sorry, it cut out there for a second. Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, totally. So either I'll just naked install it as a pure tempo card, or I'll try and actively defend it if I'm going to get something like a Cabanisa Wu that's on Game Day Origami. That's where I first started to play this card in San Francisco, because these people were having such a dedicated plan to turn 1, get the origamis on the table, and then turn 2 Game Day to draw up. And just rezzing 1 card, 5 for them to trash, and completely disables their deck and enables my plan of trying to kill the runner. play in such disruption on the other side that they have to handle it. They go trash it. Now they don't have credits. Cards. They're not getting cards. They're probably not getting huge spikes of credits or the binary things that they need, like icebreakers. It's a hard, nothing to the has to address it. Going into the situations where they don't address it. So obviously, a lot of my defensive upgrades and agendas I'm trying to score are all requiring the runner to have cards. If the thing is in play beforehand, they can only draw 2 cards. They can go steal. They're going to get really low. And then I can take advantage of that immediately by killing the next turn, most likely. You addressed it. They're most likely going to barely get into this remote, and I've just taken a huge tempo hit in which I do it again. There's many things that you can pair it with. And most importantly to me, it really tries to cement this third currency into the game of credits, clicks, and cards being important. And that's me.
Okay. David, do you have any comments on this card?
I mean, I've only ever seen it in sort of nasty IG decks, just trying to sort of wear them down. That cards is a currency. I'm already thinking, okay, straight away, there's another case if they need to draw something up. At the moment, I'm playing a deck which is sort of trying to make it difficult, give gear checks. So I have to draw up cards to get the gear checks out, so they can get past the gear checks. And a card like this immediately slows them down quite a lot. They can't draw as much. They, as Andrew says, they have to go address the card. They trash the card. Now, yes, they can draw up, but now they haven't got the money to install the breaker in the first place. Scenario works, which I think is I see a theme of Andrew. Again, it's whatever they do is not good. And that's why as a corpus, what you want to put the runner in a position where you can choose either door. I don't care. They're both bad for you. You're going to pick one. So, yeah. I can definitely see it as a really good tempo card in the right deck.
Okay, I'm going to glob onto what David said there, because I fully agree with it. I mean, that's the kind of thing, except you have to remember I'm Exile. I will admit now that tactics will not work, because my usual play would be just to draw 2 cards during my turn. I mean, then I'll trash the, and then during your turn, I'd use claim chips to draw 2 cards. That's I'm Exile. That's what I do. I draw cards. Or
Exactly.
Or his cooler younger brother. Who's his cooler younger brother again? The criminal. Trash. When you use a trash thing on a card, you draw a card.
Oh, guys.
That's it. Yeah, guys. Yeah, guys. Exile's cooler younger brother. So I mean, that's what I used to do anyway. But I can't do that anymore now because of reasons. I mean, the Popo really hate Exile. He's too overpowered, far too overpowered. I will say though that I do agree that IG was the only deck I've really ever seen the Pavilion played in, and I'm not gonna. I think it is a really good card, and you're right. It's underplayed because it is a very good card. I'm thinking that it could be played in Polana. Would you? I mean. I could see it being played in a Polana deck, though, because you have various cards that make them draw cards, and if they're drawing the cards anyway, and it gets to a point where they can't draw them, I think it just works. I think the next Pavilion should be played in a Polana deck. Do you guys have any opinion on this?
But I do. I have some additional commentary of. I think Jinteki is a fact. Naturally has a lot of cards that really support this. And I think there was a really key card here that just upped the power level here. It's that new 4-2 agenda, the viral weaponization.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
At the end of the turn, empty their hand. Yeah. So I like this card in combination with that is if they haven't addressed the card, effort just trying to only draw 2 cards and then barely install whatever they have. Only installed one of their valuable cards because they probably don't have enough econ or they have some other objectives that they want to think about. essentially they're putting one good thing on the board, but the chance that they have something really good in their hand as well is a lot higher, because it's slowly introducing the good cards to their hand rather than this like explosive like get all 3 good cards in my deck, lay them down, and then when you score that agenda, you get rid of it. So again, you're interrupting their game plan. They're going, fuck, now I have to go get another one, and GP is still on the table. Where my head is at in terms of consideration there is like, let's think about good breakers. So like, a lot of people have talked about, Shapers in idea, they can solve any problem. They have every tool in their deck to do that. They can't necessarily do it very quickly. Really doing something super weird inside of Shaper, or have a very specific thing that you're doing, or very ways to get that one specific thing. Being able to, like, if you have Gordian Blade and Nanotech, 2 incredibly good breakers, especially if played incorrectly from the corp aspect. Stacking Code Gates, terrible idea. Stacking Ice on a huge remote or a huge R&D, really good for Nanotech. So it super punishes, those 2 icebreakers really punish corp play, corp mistakes. The chance that they're going to be able to install both of those really quickly without sacrificing something else is really, really high. And so being able to take advantage of that with a card like Viral Upgradization is super, super good. Oh, and you've interrupted their game plan.
Okay. Interesting. The counterpoint. Yeah, there's a counterpoint to that. Out of faction. The reason why I'm going to say out of faction is because, it's 5 influence, yes?
One more time, sorry, your mic cut up.
Okay, sorry. So counterpoint. The Genetics Pavilion is 5 influence, yes?
Correctamundo.
Okay, now playing this out of faction. That's a benchmark of solidifying how good a card is. How would this work out of faction? Now, I wailing with like some kind of kill combo. I get that. But try using it with HP or MBN. Now, if we mention the previous card, O2, that can work in Jinteki. Jinteki has virtually no fast advance, but you could like have installer 4-2 face down, and then you play it first click, and then okay, you can squat the 4-2. Or you can like get the damage and you can finish them off with some other combination. MBN O2 shortage doesn't work. Genetics Pavilion MBN, I don't see that either. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's a benchmark here. So how would you see maybe O2 shortage and Genetics Pavilion working out of faction? Some theories on this, but I'd like to hear your thoughts. Let's start with David. Do you have any thoughts on this?
So how would Genetics? So I think obviously you can't play too many copies because it is the Genetics Pavilion. It is 5 influence.
Okay, let's just imagine you've got it. But go on, yeah.
So you may want. So obviously Wayland, you've got Atlas. So you could shoot it from somewhere, possibly in an Argus deck where potentially damage rather than taking the tag from stealing the agenda. So they're losing cards that way. Then they can't drop as effectively. Possibly in there. As for O2 shortage, again, as you say, obviously fits in HP perfectly. Jinteki, yes, they can find you. I would really have to sort of have a think about how I'd use it out of faction, both those cards.
That's fine.
Off the top of my head, I'm not too sure.
That's fine. That's fine. I didn't put you on the spot there. That's just I was just trying to. Andrew, theories about out of faction use for these cards. O2 shortage or Genetics Pavilion. So I've got a few ideas. Crazy, but I've got a few ideas.
Where my head goes with Genetics Pavilion in terms of the other faction that's probably using these to some effect, other than Wayland, would be NBN. And what's interesting is NBN has quite a few cards that subtract So Data Loop is a great example. As the encounter, you have to take 2 cards from your hand, put it on the stack. Can't install cards for the rest of this turn. They have I think they have one more ice that I'm trying to think of that also hits them tempo-wise, card-wise. Solving for grabbing it from my deck, immediately my head is going to, you're doing some type of asset spam out of NEH. You're using tech startups to grab Genetics Pavilion. Multiple problems. Essentially, which asset do I need to trash? Or which assets should I be trashing? If you can overload the runner with problems, i.e. getting a bunch of assets on the board, draw, and having the threat of tagging them just because you have an economic advantage because amount of credits from your assets and they're spending a lot of credits to get rid of your assets. That's where I'm thinking is you need to majorly stress a currency that they're not ready for, i.e. cards as an example. If they start to chase after that, you really pull the curtain on credits or clicks or something like that, i.e. the asset spam or the tagging mechanisms. So you're playing this as you're just trying to hit tempo in as many different dimensions as possible. And that's where my head immediately goes to in terms of the advanced levels of that strategy. Have to jive on it quite a bit more.
No, you hit the nail on the head there. That's what I was looking for. Because I've noticed that MBN is a lot of ice that stops the core things. For example, stops like I said, stops them from installing, stop and put stuff back. I'm a big fan of threat assessment, putting either you take 2 tags or you put something back. I'm a big fan of this. David. Now, so David, I want to ask you something. Still play Diaper at all? Illegal? I can't remember now off the top of my head. Is Diaper still legal?
Not in its original form, no, because it lost False Echo, which you can play around, but then lost Keyhole, which was the more fundamental part of the deck, because that was using all iterations I ever had. So Keyhole was the card that, we're losing that broke it, basically.
I have thought of something, just as a side comment immediately to that.
Go for it.
New Age. I've really thought about New Age Diaper because it's an interesting problem. And I'm waiting for this to happen, or I'm waiting for maybe a couple more support cards to really think. So when I'm thinking Diaper, obviously, what are the core mechanics here? You're undoing corpse ice decisions, turn where you're going ham, and you're attacking R&D. Those are the 3 core requirements in my mind that quintessentially define what Diaper is. A way that you can do this, and I have done this, but it is not the most efficient and it's not to amazing effect, but it was solid when it went off. So yes, we've lost False Echo, but we've also gained Egret. Clone Chip is taxed, but you can make the call as that's your card. Keyhole, we now have by any means along with Paparazzi. So rather than trashing 2, taking 1, you can just trash a bunch. General thought process here. Pop your hyperdrivers. By any means. Track all your egrets that you either have in hand or you've just dumped into your heap. Econ. Install not Amakusa. Or maybe that is what, not Amakua. It's the rail hook where if you break everything, you can pay 2. Yeah, Ankusa. Barrier with Egret. Push it to HQ. Then you just by any means, deep data, go check archives, see if you've earned your take. That's my general consensus of New Age Diaper. I think it's a thing. I don't think it's the thing, but if you can pull it off and the corp is not aware of it.
I think I have used Ankusa before. For a one-off deck, I had a very bizarre deck which had Vamp and Magnum Opus. So I'd Vamp HQ, and then I would also, if I needed to, have Ankusa to run R&D. If they did match Res like a vanilla or something else, bounce that back to hand. Those. The problem with Ankusa has always been 2 per sub.
Yeah.
So many, and I've tried it, so many different things, but 2 per sub is 2 per sub. If it's 1 per sub, then that card's a real problem at that point. So I don't think it should be in 2 per sub.
What's interesting is, so if you want to get into like, say, Dino Breakers, you have Studio Ghibli and Kogamato. Studio Ghibli, though, is a 2 cost, so you're not saving any money there. Congo Mato is 1, which is a savings, but you're spending the click in advance. And credits is your problem. But if that's not the thing, then then it's not really solved.
I'd have to check, but I think Ankusa says you have to break all the subs with it.
Oh,
That's correct. No, that's correct.
Because I think
I can confirm that is true. So I still use it in my subject. I still use it in my subject. That is true.
Yeah,
Okay.
again, I've tried so many different ways of cheating it out and doing things with it. Obviously, you can boost strength easy enough, but yeah, by any means, I still think there's a deck with by any means that does what Diaper does, but I've yet to see it or figure out what that is. Again, there's some interesting decks, but nothing I would say is either strong enough or fast enough when the combo goes off. The thing that made Diaper quite good is that theoretically you could combo by turn 7 or turn 8.
Turn
and
7.
A full strength Diaper to combo could just be devastating. And speed. And decks right now have one or the other. I'll get to and has both.
Yeah, and that's just
Right.
true. I mean, all the crazy decks I've come up with, the issue has always been speed. I'll give you an example. I love Ankusa. I think Ankusa is criminally underplayed. But the problem is with Ankusa has been always the money. And the thing that turns the ice into barriers. I've used tinkering. And I've recently been trying to use Lamb, but Lamb, the memory requirements, the time, the money, it's always been far too slow. But when it works, it's so beautiful. My new thing has been using the it's a new card in the latest pack, 0 cost, I believe, 1 memory. It's got 3 counters on it. When you use a counter, you can see an extra card, an additional card in R&D. It's Nasha or something like that. But yes, it's a shape.
Oh yeah, the shaper, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now I've been using those to great effect actually, and I think it's even better than using turning wheel. I'm a little bit off turning wheel because you have to set up before you can use it. But my most effective version of the Ankusa deck has been I install 1 or 2 of those Nasha cards, and I keep attacking HQ. I've got inside jobs. I'm playing Exile, by the way. I'm playing Exile, so I've got inside jobs playing Exile. I've got an emergency shutdown. So I'm constantly attacking HQ. I'm seeing nothing, and they're like, "Well, I've got nothing in HQ, so I'm not going to bother resing because I've shut down the ice too many times." The ice was about 5 cost. They're not too bothered, and they think, "Oh, he's got about 8 counters now. That's a bit distressing, but nothing to worry about." So, Natasha. I'm calling that card Natasha now. I love it. I love Natasha. Anyway, so Natasha. 8 counters. Deep data mining. That's what happens, right? So, one Natasha's out of things, so I trash that. So I've got 1 Natasha, so I'm seeing 3 extra cards. Attacking R&D. I get through R&D with the one that lets you breaks the first sub because they've only got 1 sub ice. So
Congo.
So yeah, exactly. So get through the sub ice, and they're like, "Oh dear," and they realized too late. I think it was a newer person. I think a more experienced player would have realized what was going to happen, but they were a newer player, so they didn't realize what was happening. So I've got 8 counters, the turning wheel, deep data mining cards, and a Natasha going. So I went off that because I accessed how many cards now? So that's 4 cards off the turning wheel, plus another 3, so that's 7, plus the Natasha, so that's 8 cards. And those 8 cards had 2 agendas, which I needed, and it was beautiful. It only worked once, though. Out of the 10 times I played it, only worked once. And it was far too slow. I got lucky, basically. I'm not going to lie. I got lucky because they were playing Jameson, so they were forfeiting agendas. So if they didn't have forfeit agendas, I don't think I'd have got there in time. It's too slow, as David stated before. But I think that the Ayasha card is a great card, and I think it can replace Turning Wheel. Okay, next card though, I will actually want to go into deep is Best Defense. That's the 2-cost neutral card that trashes cards based upon how many tags. Now, I'm really surprised that I'm not seeing this card played more, because that card is freaking amazing. I'm not gonna lie, because think about it. If you got 0 tags, you can still trash a 0-cost card. Now, how many 0-cost cards you know that cause you problems? Think about it. You same old thing, right? That's a 0-cost card. It causes so much hassle, especially when compared with lab access. I've seen a lot of decks, including yours, by the way, Andrew, that plays only lab access. Now, as soon as that lab access is in the archive, as soon as I hit that same old thing, you're done. You're dead, unless you know. And I've won at least 3 games because of this. People are like, oh wow, I was not expecting that. And another card, a Sacrificial Construct. Getting rid of the Satcon or even the Tapeworm, 0 cost as well. You have no idea the power of being able to save yourself the click by using 2 credits. The number of times I've been able to just when I've got 2 of them in hand, even when I've been able to trash 2 of them in one turn, it's really devastated the opponent's tempo. And that's not including when I get tags. I'm playing custom botics now. I've got the influence. I can play tags. Oh, I can tag you like MBN. Believe me, I can. I mean, I've started using hard-hitting news, but it feels a bit cheap, feels too easy. But if I give even one tag, I mean, even one tag, I'm trashing all your 1-cost stuff. Now, the number of times that 1-cost things, like clone chips, or that one that lets you draw cards when you create a new server.
Astrolabe?
Astrolabe, that's the one.
Yeah, Astrolabe, yeah.
Times when I've been able to trash stuff like that, it's been devastating to the game. Or even if you get 3 tags and you can trash their breakers, especially that turtley one. I hate that turtle one.
Oh, I'm a turtle.
Yes, that turtle.
Oh, man.
Forget that turtle. I've got 2 rings.
Cheers.
Okay, so let's start with David. I'm on you because I want you to speak. Do you have any thoughts on Best Defense at all?
I remember when it first came out, I was terrified because I played Bookmark quite a lot.
Yes, there you go. Yeah,
and for me, that was I was generally terrified. I was like, this breaks my deck. I actually had to add Sacrificial Construct to my deck just to deal with that because it was such a terrifying fear of that card. I think Best Defense comes in waves depending what the meta's on. I think because there's a lot of Anarch at the moment, and aside from same old thing, I'm not aware off the top of my head of many Anarch installable cards that cost 0. Which is why Best Defense doesn't see as much use. Obviously, Shaper, SMC, Satcons, they virtually always play those cards. So I think, again, if you see more Shaper players, then you see more Best Defense. At the moment, with Anarch being king, as it were, it's just not as useful. But I do like it as a card. As I said, if you're able to give them some tags, any map tags, and then you will get some targets in for sure. And as you said, the same old thing example is a great one because that's can be a devastating card. And again, the problem with the same old thing from your court point of view is the runner can choose what's essential. What's the key thing the runner wants to do with it? Do I need to levy? Do I want to do another Maker's Eye? So being able to trash it for 2 credits with no other dependencies, really good.
Okay. Sorry, I've just thrown away my hand there. Okay. You just remind me of another card. Self-modifying code, also 0 cost. Getting rid of that is extremely devastating. Yeah. Okay, Andrew, do you have any comments on this card before we move on?
I absolutely, completely, 1,000,000% agree with David on the specific constraint of, I think it's very meta dependent. The thing that I really like is if the runner is not in the mindset of the corp can interact with a card on my board that isn't normally there, i.e., resources via tags, programs via hunter seeker, hardware via the lab dog, anything like that, where if the runner is completely not even thinking about it, it's just so absolutely powerful and mainly for me demotivating, because you've forgotten about it and your strategy has just been bottomed out. Whatever it is, whether it's SACCON or Tapworm or SMC or ShadowNet or same old thing, or there's a lot of good cards that that this card completely disables. It seems like a lot of the cards that you're trashing with best defense, either at a low cost or zero cost, are usually parts of a system. And being able to take out a part of a system is devastating when you don't have backups for it. A+, love it.
Thank you.
I just thought of one more card that I think you've mentioned so far.
Go for it.
Is Origami. Origami is a zero cost card.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
And that's to influence.
I'm not gonna lie. The Origami. Not seen Origami a lot outside of Reina for some reason. I remember what the combination was. I think it's Origami and Echo Mind. It gives you extra memory. I think there's Origami, Echo Mind, and there's breakers that rely on memory. Okay.
I mean, you do see it at Woo, obviously, with their combo decks, because obviously they can get all three Origamis out immediately and then do the game day combo. And I have seen a few of those in the wild, a few Woo decks. So again, I think any Woo deck that I've seen always has Origami, generally.
Agreed. And I think it's an interesting thing of, so talking about that, you gain a bunch of memory. In theory, out of Shaper, I'm not going to associate it with an ID. Pass through, or essentially the pass through of your deck, you can use these Dino breakers. And then you can use those breakers that are like +1 strength per each memory. I think it's not Sage, but it's one of those. It's a cousin to Sage. Or it's an AI breaker, and their strength is contingent on how much memory you have. So your early middle game is Dino breakers, and then you graduate because you have all your cards on the board then at that point to that breaker, and then you can just close it out with that. That's my other use case of this that immediately comes to mind.
Okay. Interesting. I'm going to stop that there. Okay. Now we get to the meat of the issue. Now, whether you know it or not, Damon Stone and Michael Boggs are going to be watching this. Because believe it or not, I actually matter because I'm the most important player in the game of Netrunner. Because it's to the heart of things. Now, I don't know why, but for some reason, when I speak, they listen. I don't know why, but if you'll notice during my videos, whenever I point something out, about 1 month or 2 months later, they bring out a card to solve it. Or they bring out a card that's in my design. For example, Seedy Location Scan, which is black level clearance. And all those cards I designed during my whaling experiment, they bring out. Oh, it's always 2 months later. I don't know why. But anyway, so as the most important player in Netrunner, it is my job to keep this game sane. So, what I'd like to talk to you about now is recursion. But they've solved 90% of the issues I've had with Netrunner. 90% have solved. Still that little 10% to fix. Namely, that bastard that keeps reprinting Streets Week in NBA. I don't know who that is. I'll find him one day. That's my main mission in life. But the second thing is the recursion. Now, recursion. Conspiracy Breaker Arc. It just fills me with so much dread and sorrow. How many times have you been a victim of this? You're up against an Anarch. You just know. You don't even have to think about it. You just know they're running conspiracy breakers. Okay, maybe you see a Freedom running a USIF, what other virus breakers. Great. They're running virus breakers and all these dreams. They're running a virus. Great. But you know that when you trash their breakers, they're coming back. You know they've got all the breakers already. You don't have to worry about it. I've spoken at length. These things need to hurt. So, reason, I contend that Paperclip, Orchestra, and MK3 have some kind of setback. Now, maybe Paperclip has a light setback. For example, maybe Paperclip can cost 2 MU. I don't know. Or maybe when you install it does 1 net damage. Or maybe when you install Paperclip the first time it gives you a tag. But how would you feel if Paperclip, MK2, Orchestra had the effect of when you install it from the heap that it makes you lose a turn, gives you a net damage, or gives you... How would you feel about that? Would you feel that's too... Comments. Please start with Andrew.
I like that. I think this is where my mind goes in terms of punishment. I absolutely agree that there needs to be a downside, because right now there's no downside. You get to be as careless as you want. Like when I think, obviously, when you're thinking about the Anarch idea mentality, it's like this kind of, I have a crazy strategy and maybe it'll work or maybe it will absolutely not work. I think like frantic coding in a vacuum is a super well designed thing. It's very powerful, but it can go completely wrong for you. I think that's awesome and enhanced. You're given ideas for penalizing using these breakers, or essentially installing from the heap. What I think would be super symmetrical and very reasonable, especially for the mentality and spirit of Anarch. And like when you install this from the heap, mill the top 3 cards of your deck, because you've already given the idea that you're careless of getting that shit in the heap, and now it should actually impact you.
I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, David, do you have any comments on this issue?
So I'm gonna again. I agree with these comments. There needs to be some sort of penalty. But I'm going to take it a different route just to create discussion.
Go for it.
I don't believe this is my idea. I believe I've heard it from someone else, and I'm just copying it. So I'll make that clear. So the penalty, that another option you could do, trashes one of the conspiracy breakers, is removed from the game.
Ooh. Let me understand this. So, okay, you install the breaker from the heap, right? Okay, I get that. But if the breaker is trashed when it's installed, it's removed from the game.
Correct.
I like that. That is very good. That is excellent, David. That is an excellent conceit. I think that is better than anything. Okay, I'm sorry, Andrew, but
no, that's fine. We're here to talk.
That is the best one. No, that is the best one, because I could see that in law as a conspiracy breaker. It gets trashed. Conspiracy is it's not dead yet; it comes back. But if you get rid of it finally, then it's gone. I like that. It's risky. You know what? I'm gonna bother Boggs about this. I've bothered Boggs about many things. I've flown to America. I've gotten drunk and I've personally spoken to Boggs, and I've scared him a lot. I've scared a lot of the designers. I mean, they've made this face when they see me. So, I mean, yes, I love that. I'm gonna bother them to do that, and so within about 6 months from this video, they'll address that. I'm afraid that these conspiracy breakers have to cycle out first, but I'll get them. Okay. So
put it in the planner.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna put it in a planner. We're gonna close this up because I could do this all day. I'm having too much fun here. But this video does need to end. Last thing on the board last time. The other card, did you have any thoughts on All-Nighter at all? Because is Hyperdrive still Hyperdrive still legal? The program Hyperdrive is still legal, yeah?
Yep. Hyperdrive is still legal.
I mean,
Yep.
why not All-Nighter?
I have huge thoughts on this. I have so many thoughts. Pick me. Pick me.
No. David first. You get to pass first, David. If you want to pass, you can pass. But
I mean, I've got some very brief thoughts. I have played All-Nighter and Hyperdriver in the same deck before. Clicks. Obviously, once Hyperdriver rotates, then obviously, which will be the next batch of rotation, so we're looking at 9 months maybe, then All-Nighter becomes your go-to click card. I like All-Nighter. I've used it many times. That's what I've got to say on it. I'll let Andrew now, because I think he's dying to say something.
All right. Let me break this down. And here's what I actually love. Of introducing hidden information on the runner side. Now, typically in this game, the court has the hidden information, obviously. Agendas are typically face down. Ice is always face down. Assets are face down. Totally good. What they're doing, but not a confirmation until it's actually rezzed or until it actually Snyder or Hyperdriver or Temple of the Liberated Mind, which I was talking about earlier in this video, in this message, is that what's actually super powerful about Temple of the Liberated Mind, especially in the context of this deck or all-nighter, is you going to a 5th or a 6th click introduces so many different things that you can do. Have had to think about all of the different things that you could do in advance, which can really mess with their game plan or really mess with their personal style of play, which is 100% what I love. The idea of a normal turn of, like, speaking to David, one of David's favorite cards, I'm thinking, Apocalypse. Your turn is very static. You're running a central, you're running a central, you're running a central, you're casting Apocalypse. When you have that extra 5th or 6th clicks, the volume starts to dramatically go up. Running 3 centrals and doing Apocalypse notoriety? Are they running 3 centrals, contesting a remote, and then apocalypsing? Are they running 3 Apocalypse, trash the thing in the remote, go check archives? Are they playing Levy to do it all again? There are all these things where I'd rather have to click later than earlier, where I could click for a credit, draw a card, these kind of like less powerful things. Essentially, you're sacrificing a little bit of power early to have bigger power plays later. And that's where I really like All-Nighter or Temple or Hyperdriver, cards like that.
Okay. I love I like that you mentioned Temple there. Temple is a very excellent card. I'm also surprised that, you know what? I'm surprised that I don't use that anymore. My issue so thus far with All-Nighter and the Temple card is that clicks are conditional. All-Nighter, I have to spend the click first to install it. The Temple card, it's the click. It's the 1 credit, I believe, isn't it? It's what costs 1 credit?
I got it right here. It's 2 to install, click, put a counter on it, remove a counter, which is a paid ability window, gain a click.
Also paid ability.
Yes. Which
that could be interesting with that new Adam card. Logic Bomb.
Yep, Logic Bomb. Yep, we did a whole stream about that, actually.
Really? Oh, cool. I have to go check that out.
Yeah. It was quite fun.
Wait, so Andrew, what's your stream again? Just to put it out there.
So it is twitch.tv/San Francisco. We usually air once a week, Tuesday or Wednesday, mostly Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. on the West Coast, PST. Sometimes we do Wednesdays, though, for schedule constraints, same time.
I'll put this at the front of the video to make sure that everyone knows about it. Although I am very drunk right now, so I might forget. Okay, so this has been very interesting.
Can I sorry, can I interrupt you, Jason? I
Go
just
for it,
want
go
to
for
say
it.
one more thing.
Go for it.
About all-nighter. There's another use which again, if you've got an extra click, there's another thing which I like doing from time to time, which I just find amusing, is if you're playing an NBN deck and they know that if you don't get it, they'll score it. But if you do get it, they're going to play C-Source, hard-hitting news. Something bad's going to happen. Extra click. You can run the remote, take all the tags, do whatever bad things happen, take the agenda, do all the consequences. Still, you've got your extra click. You can run the 3 centrals, play Encore,
That's it. Encore.
use your bonus turn,
I was
clear
waiting
the
for the
damage,
encore.
and crucially, you've turned off C-Source, hard-hitting news punitive because you didn't make a run in your last turn. Your last turn was clearing the tags. And it's something I have actually done a few times. It's in that whatsoever.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
thing.
That's
Encore
a-
is indeed a thing. Fine. Okay. Gentlemen, I'd like to state for the record that this has been excellent. Now,
Recorded.
I
And
can
agreed.
do this-
Yeah, same here.
yeah, I can do this for ages, but I think it should end because, it should have an ending. Now, after this, I've got another gentleman I'm going to play on Wednesday. We're going to play some techie online games, and we're going to incorporate some of the stuff you discussed here in the decks, because I think that's a good idea. So, just to be clear, in some of the decks that we're going to play on Wednesday, we're not going to record it we're not going to upload it on Wednesday, but the idea is that we can use O2 shortage because you mentioned it. We're going to use genetics moving because it was mentioned. We're going to use all nighter because it was mentioned. We're going to use hyperdriver because it was mentioned. Which other cards was mentioned again, just to be sure, just to be clear about stuff. Best defense because it was mentioned. Is there any other cards that we should include in these decks? Just imagine that we're going to play low tier ideas, but we have to use these cards. Which other cards should be played in these decks that we played on Wednesday?
I think if you're going to have extra clicks, the final quintessential card on the runner side, you got to have a notoriety. You got to seal it. You got to have your nightcap.
Okay.
Have your nightcap.
So these decks are going to be rubbish, but they're going to include, on the corp side, Genex Pavilion, Best Defense, O2 Shortage, I don't know the ID yet. And on the runner side, they've got to include Notoriety, Hyperdriver, All Nighter, and okay, what was there? Was there another runner one that was mentioned as underused? No,
I don't think so.
okay, there wasn't.
I don't think so either. No, I think you've covered them.
That's fine. Now, next time, I think we have to do another series of these because there's still lots more cards to go over. Another card I'd like you to think about was it's internal directive, so you can look at it now. It costs you. It's a neutral, force trash. At the start, it gets 2 credits on top of it. When it gets to 8 credits, you can spend a click to take 8 credits off it when it gets to 8. Now, I like this card. I've not used it personally, but because I was drunk, and when I first looked at it when I was drunk, I thought they'd put your own credits from your own personal thing onto it. But I realize now that you take the 2 credits from elsewhere, so it builds up credits. I thought the same thing with Jackpot. But that card, that's the card we're going to start with next time, but I think more people should use that card. Now, I'm Jason Brown, and I'm Seedy Location. We've had David Sayer, the Hyperdriver, the Time Wizard. That's it. You're officially David. You're the Time Wizard. That's who you are. In the lore,
Okay.
you are the Time Wizard. You're the guy that controls time. Andrew, you're the unconventional thinker. And you're the strategist guy. That's what you do. And for some reason, you're Jamaican. I don't know why, but I'm drunk right now. But I'm thinking, for some reason, in the Netrunner lore, you're Jamaican. I don't know why. Because you were an awesome...
100%.
And this has been an episode of Seedy Location. This has been excellent. I love you all. Okay, officially, this is where the video ends. But if you want to say anything, they can use as sound bites or put in the front of a clip or random stuff, you can say it now. Otherwise, you're free to go. And I'm also out of alcohol. All the alcohol's gone.
The sad.
Yeah, I'm very sad right now. Also very drunk. Okay. Thank you very much.
That's it.
We're done. We're done.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
You're all beautiful people.
You're all very beautiful people.
Namaste.
No, I like that. Okay, that's going to end the video. That's going to end the video right now. Okay. Anything now is personal. So, so would you be up for doing this maybe in about a month's time, maybe 2 or 3 months' time? Would you guys be up for this?
Yeah, I'm happy to come on again. If you're happy to have me.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Happy to join.
I mean, the only reason, even though it's speaking outside, the only reason I got my clothes on is because the original format is dead. It is. I know that Spags likes it, but it's dead. I know that Stone and Boggs liked it, but it's dead. I know that everyone else likes my voice, but it's dead. So the only way it's going to happen is if they mess up the game again, that's going to happen.
It's out of your hands.
Yeah, it's out of my hands. I'm thankful. I'm really want to thank you guys for having a few drinks. I don't know if they were alcoholic or not, but I could tell you were drinking some stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I'm doing due diligence.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. David, you're awesome and you're okay too. So right now, thank you very much. I'm just gonna end this now. This has been excellent. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, folks. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.